Welcome to The Kingdom Sleeps, the fantasy bedtime story decided by the roll of a dice. My name's Andrew, I'll be your story master for this evening.
And my name's Tom, and I'll be playing Yohm.
We will be joining Yohm once again as he continues forth towards Ludock's cave. But before we begin tonight's story, Tom, I'd like to ask you a little bit about Yohm and his personal sense of bravery. How brave do you think Yohm would describe himself to be?
I think, quite interestingly, it probably depends on who he's describing it to. I think secretly there's been a few times in his life, obviously, so far it's been quite well known that he doesn't live a very comfortable life, so every day for him is a bit of a challenge, so he's definitely no pushover or, afraid of adversity. But there have been a few situations where that's sort of stepped up another level and he's been really tested as a person and sort of had to brave himself into a bad situation. The main one coming to mind really being how he came to own his first houndback, sort of re-stealing it off of a group of poachers in the desert, and things got a little bit rough. I think we might have mentioned it once before that Yohm's been in one fight in his life, and it was that time, and I think that did a lot of learning for him growing up, that when he needs to, when something seriously matters, he seems to do quite well in being brave, but the rest of the time he'll happily avoid it if he can.
Well, Yohm is certainly coming up against quite a few things in his recent time that seriously matter. So let's see if he can draw some of that bravery out once again, as he seems to have already done several times. So just before we begin tonight's story, I'd like to, as always, throw out a huge thank you to our listeners and our Patreons for supporting this podcast. If you are enjoying the podcast and you'd like to help support what we do here with all of the amazing art that is produced by some fantastic artists that we have the absolute privilege of working with, as well as our fantastic performers such as Tom, as well as Orla and Brandon. Please check out the link in the description below and consider supporting what we do. But for now, close your eyes, make yourselves comfortable, and join us where the kingdom sleeps. You find yourself in this moment confronted by the two shocked faces of Hugus and Goru as you sit in this small, humble abode within the village upon the outskirts of the mountains of Brusjama, as Tonto stands upon the table in front of you. You having just revealed his presence to Goru, imploring him to help you, to find a way to aid this strange and seemingly malevolent affliction that is almost pulsating in a deep black vein along Goru's leg. And as ever, Tonto looks to you with a smiling face and an attitude of positivity.
Don't worry, Yohm. I'm sure we can do something to help.
I had a good feeling you might say that. Now these people have helped us, so it's our turn to help them. What do you think, Tonto?
Well, you saw before, when Kieran, he hurt his leg. I just called the Mamu. the pink ones, and they came to help, and they made him feel better, and they made you feel better. Mm-hmm. Do you remember?
Yes, it was magnificent.
That should work, I think. If we can find the Mamu. I haven't seen any pink Mamu here since we landed.
I'm afraid I haven't either. Excuse me. Do you often see pink Mamu around these parts? Before the incident, at least. He directs it to both the other adults in the room.
Sure. Roll me an insight check, just quickly.
A square 10.
As you look up to ask them this question, they look at you with deeply engraved, furrowed brows. Quite a lot of confusion at what you assume was them witnessing you sort of openly talking to a Mamu who appeared to be saying nothing. And so they sort of have to almost shake themselves awake in shock, and it is Hugus who speaks to you first. No, I don't think I have. Blue Mamu are very prevalent here. It is not unheard of to see pink Mamu, but not so much in this region. Why?
Well, sorry, I almost forget that this is not normal. Well, me and this particular Mamu, we share a connection. I'll spare you the details, trust me. You probably wouldn't believe them anyway.
Don't hesitate to believe what it is that I will start to believe after what I've seen in the last day.
Well, to try and keep it somewhat short at least, through strange circumstance, me and this Mamu were bonded through powers above all of us. And after a similarly strange event with a large Mamu, and this one here used his abilities to call on the aid of some pink Mamu, and they healed me with was damn near a broken ankle, and they healed my friend with what I'm starting to believe to be a similar affliction to yours, Goru.
I see.
However, the black matter that afflicted him seemed to plague his mind, not just his body. But the healing worked. I can promise you that.
Roll me an insight for Goru specifically, as he looks at you with a flustered expression.
Yeah, that's a 19 this time.
On a 19, you can evidently see that Goru is skeptical. He has a look of sincere skepticism in what you're saying. Yes, well, I think we have all heard of the old wives' tales of Pink Mamu helping us, cure the children of their sandpox, but I think that maybe we will need something a bit more serious, do you not think?
I understand your skepticism, and I'd love to be able to prove to you without any question that this is as good a plan as I can think of, in lieu of an awful lot of Healer's Guild help, and I'm pretty sure we're not going to get that anytime soon.
Hugus turns to you. even if what you say is true, Yohm, how are we to find Pink Mamu?
Well, that's, I believe, going to be a job for me and Tonto. He can talk to them. He seems to have a sense about them in general, really. I'm sure if there are any around at all, he'll know.
Okay. And you can see him just look over with expectant eyes to Tonto, who is darting his face confusedly between you all, as he often does when you speak to those he cannot understand.
And before talking further, I'll sort of signal him onto my shoulders now, just like we usually do when travelling around, and cast the eye back to the gentleman as well, as a minor display of this relationship that Tonto and I have to try and slowly build up some level of just appreciation and belief in what we may be able to do. And then I ask him, Tonto, do you think there's any hope of us finding some Pink Mamu around here?
Well, I'm not sure I can feel them, but if maybe we go outside, I can call for them, and I'll see if they come.
Yeah, okay. We'll see about that. And Hugis then, he believes he might be able to find some, but it would require us to go outside together. And I do not wish to cause your people any more panic.
I will need to think about this. Yohm, I don't think it is a good idea for Tonto to step outside. We are now in the middle of the day. Is there any way you can do this discreetly?
Well, if you didn't mind, I suppose we could head just outside of town again and try there.
Of course, yes. If that is fine with you, Goru. And he looks down to Goru, who sort of gives a somewhat grumpy but relenting affirmative nod. Yes, okay. I think that will be fine by us.
Thank you, Goru. And trust me, I was waylaid myself last night by some blue Mamu, and it's not the first time they have set their eyes upon me, so rest assured I don't take them lightly. I just trust this one with my life.
I guess that means we will trust you with ours. I don't see that we have any other choice. Or at least, I'm hoping it can't hurt. Come then, we shall move quickly before the day goes on and more people are stirring in the village. And he quite sharply stands up from his chair, casting a look to Goru to do the same, who hastily wraps his leg back up, readying to stand himself up. He shouts to the back, sharply, Ira, we will be gone for just a little while. Stay here, please, and tidy up if you can. And a small, curious face pokes around the corner to greet her father's words. She just gives a small affirmative nod in his direction. Roll me a perception check, please. That'll be a 23. on a 23, you can see that she darts you this ever so quick glance. And within that glance, you are able to perceive a desperate want to follow you. You can see this kindred spirit of the adventurer in that dart of a glance that lasts but half a second. And you can also see just behind the edge of the doorway that in the hand that is obscured by the door, just the tuft of a whistleweed that she holds in her hand.
He'll meet her quick glance with a muted smile, trying his honest best to not encourage any reckless behaviour. Obviously, displaying some pride.
I think that's well received, as you can just see a little glimmer of a hopeful grin on her face as she darts back round the door and is gone.
With that then, Tonto and I very quickly finish off our small conversation, and I explain to him what we're going to go and try and do. He furrows back into my cloak. We button it up, ready for the cold winds once again, and head on out.
And you're almost having to hurry after the heels of Hugus as he very determinedly makes his way out the door and across the main road that almost acts as the town square, as it were, a central meeting place that is wide but the full length of the town. And he makes a diagonal movement from Goru's house, where you've come from, towards the main gates. And as you're making your way across this space, you now find yourself in the village of Teort, during the daytime. And it is in this moment that you realize just how many people are here. When you arrived last night, there were just a few smatterings of people, just those who are still awake at that hour, and just a few guards and workers who were busy working through the night to try and rebuild these broken fortifications. But now, in this early morning, you can see many people bustling around, people ferrying carts, people cleaning clothes, people working with iron and metals out in the open. This appears to be a bustling village full of hard-working people, which is made all the more somber by the stark destruction that you can see around you. Ever more clearly now, in the light of the day, are these huge, gaping holes in the fortified walls, burrowed by those giant Mamu that are almost panickedly being shoveled full of loose bright stone in a vain attempt to ward off any other attack. And most strikingly, in amongst the rubble, this toppled bell tower that lays across the middle length of the main runway of the village. The tower snapped at its base, the bricks of the tower sprawled onto the ground, and this old brass bell lying on the floor. As you look out across this scene, tell me what it is that Yohm feels about this village, and also tell me one particular person within the crowd that Yohm happens to pick out.
I think to begin with, the sheer just quantity of things to look at is almost overwhelming him in the daylight, where he's used to vast open plains and a handful of people at best, to see so much life so intensely juxtaposed next to so much damage and destruction. It's saddening, really, to see the amount of shared work and goodwill gone to waste. So as much as there's a lot of damage here with broken buildings and literal material strewn about the road, I think it's really the effort behind them that's weighing heavily on Yohm. And with that being said, I mean, there's an old couple he sees sort of writing a sign outside of their abode, which has more or less lost its whole ceiling at this point. And as he's walking along, listening to the crunch under his feet, he's just glued to watching them lay out some small pots again and realign them and pick up a bench and put that back where it should be. And to see that just stubborn resilience in the face of all of this, it's reassuring. And it reminds him of his dear friend Ren. And he almost smiles in seeing that just shared stubbornness of the Dwerga carry through. And he's a little bit hopeful, just a little bit, that we might be able to do something about this.
Just as your eyes glued to that elderly couple, just before they come away, as you're walking across this area, you see the elderly woman just about to pick up the last of the pots she's putting back in their place. Her back goes just a little bit, and her husband there puts a hand on the base of her back, gives it a rub, kisses her on the head, points her inside, take a seat, and continues moving the pots by himself. But your eyes are viciously ripped away in noticing that Hugus is making speedy tracks towards the gate of the village, and you are stood at the small wooden door that acts as the minor entrance. In no time at all, Hugus at the head approaches the young man who happens to be on guard at that time, and almost wordlessly is able to indicate that he needs to make passage. And as the young man swiftly opens the door, giving you a bit of a sly look as you come through, you'll notice Goru put a hand on the shoulder of the young man. Just as they're coming through the doorway, and he even just briefly puts his forehead against the forehead of that young man. No words exchanged, just this embrace, this touch of solitude. And he continues walking on. And with the gate shut behind you, you meet another guard on the other side. Who watches you as you head down the path that you took to arrive here just last night. And Hugus, still walking with determination ahead of you, waits just until that path begins to bend and you are out of sight from the young watchful guard before quickly turning to face you. Okay, we are here. Do whatever it is that you say you can do.
Okay, we'll try. He opens up his jacket once more, pulls Tonto around his neck, like that scarf hanging in his new, larger stature. Okay, Tonto. We've got to be careful because we don't want to rile anyone up within the town. So if you think you can find any of them out here, and if you can bring them here without, hopefully, drawing too much attention, that'll be appreciated, but...
You want me to draw them here, but you don't want me to make too much of a fuss. Is that right?
If possible.
You can see Tonto look very inquisitively.
Now remember, they can't hear you like I can, so you can make whatever noise you like. But maybe try not to go too high up or above the walls if you see any of them coming.
Okay. I will need to call them. Let me try. I don't think I can do it quietly, though.
It's okay. Let me know if I can help.
Well, maybe you can. When I call them, I think really hard about, how do I say it? You know how you look after me?
Yes.
And you know how I look after you?
Very much so.
Well, that thing, which is you looking after me and me looking after you, together. I think about that.
Okay.
If you hold my hand and I call them and you think about it with me, I think it will help.
Then we'll do it. He reaches his arms up, both hands around one of Tonto's, gripping it tight.
And you can see in that moment Tonto relaxes his whole body and his shoulders come down and his entire countenance becomes very somber in that moment as you grasp his little paw and you can feel his long tail droop down your back and become still, and his head is dropped for just a couple of moments. And then he looks up into the air with his little snout pointed directly up into the sky. And he makes a call out into the open. And you can see from their reaction that what you hear is something that Hugus and Goru can hear as well, and most probable anyone in the near vicinity, as he lets out this howl of song. It's like a tuneful whistle mixed with a guttural growl. And as he does so, you can feel this energy emanating from his hand. And it runs through your arm, through your veins, into your body, to your mind. What is Yohm thinking of in that moment?
He's been cramming his head full of all the best memories of Tonto so far, from the tiny speck of yellow glow he saw in the crystalline castle way back when, to having his ankle healed the first time and witnessing Kieran come back to somewhat normality. He remembers sitting high above Suncult, watching a sunset, and he remembers praying to anything he could when he was hurtling out of the sky, and seeing his small friend grow oh so big. And he's just focusing on how far both of them have come in such a small time. And despite actually hearing that noise from him for the first time, he's letting it blow past as he really just concentrates on that shared bond and that trust between the two of them.
And as that swell of emotion and memories mingle together, creates a powerful energy in your heart and your body. You can feel it emanate out into the universe. I'm going to ask you to roll a wisdom saving throw now, please. And yeah, please roll me a wisdom saving.
And that's going to be just a 5.
That's okay. I'd like you to do another roll for me now, please. Over 14 will be a success. 17 is your lucky number. And if you get a 17, then you will have a perfect success.
It's a 15.
Incredible. That reverberating howl that echoes out from Tonto can still be heard resonating against the mountains as you feel with Tonto in that moment what feels like all of the Mamu present for miles and miles around. That murmuration just outside Ludock's cave feel like a buzzing mass of water that's piling up against your head. The Mamu flying around in the upper atmosphere feel like almost like an oppressive force down upon you. The energy of the spirits that surround you suddenly all come rushing towards you in one moment. And you can feel that they feel you too. But it is overwhelming. You've never quite felt anything like it. Almost, perhaps, as in the ephemeral jungle back in Sun Cult, when you stuck your hand in that water and could feel the flow of things and could feel the direction and the movement of objects elsewhere. Perhaps a bit like that, only tenfold in magnitude and power. And with a 5, this energy comes rushing towards your body. It overwhelms you. Your eyes cloud. Your vision goes black. And you cease to be conscious. In just what feels like a moment, your eyes open again. And as they open, you find yourself leant up against a tree. You can feel the hard bark against your back. And you are greeted with the faces of Hugus and Goru, looking over you, quite concerned.
What happened? And I frantically look around, just sat where I am. What do I see?
Your wider vision is almost obscured initially by how close Goru and Hugus are to you, but as you say these words and you dart your eyes around, trying to gauge your surroundings, Hugus says to you, we can't say what is happening, but something has happened. And as they step back just a little bit, you can see off in the distance, over on the path that you seem to be at the edge of, by the tree, 5 Mamu spirit stand arched. These tall, winged creatures, perhaps 7 or 8 foot in height, with round faces and thin, spindly bodies that have these thin little arms that come out and huge flapping wings with myriad folds in them. They look swan-like and almost regal in appearance. Stand in this arch, in this semicircle, looking down very inquisitively at Tonto. who you cannot hear from this distance, but appears to be gesticulating wildly as if he is telling some sort of story, or very ardently trying to explain something. As soon as you fell, we dragged you here, and these creatures came. We were scared at first, but they seem not to be hostile.
They won't be. They won't be. And it takes a moment to adjust. All of a sudden it feels like he's just been ripped out of a very deep body of water, where he can hear the words being spoken, but yet at the same time feels like the world has just been muted again, and his vision, even though he can see the trees around him once more, is just taking a moment to get used to. For the amount that he could perceive moments ago, he now basically feels blind, deaf and dumb, and the enormity of it. And he focuses back in. Can I feel any of that presence anymore? Can I feel Tonto or those Mamu? I'm only now really just starting to notice with my physical eyes.
As you look out, that feeling that you had before does seem to have entirely dissipated. And in fact, now that you're just trying to bring yourself up and get a sense of your surroundings, you feel that that surge of energy, now dissipated, has almost drained something from you, in a way. And it has hindered your perception. However, you can still feel that little resonating connection with Tonto in front of you. You know he's there. There's always been, or perhaps has slowly been growing, this tether between you. And that you can certainly feel. The blue Mamu in front of you, however, is purely something you can see.
And do I feel like Tonto is uncomfortable right now? Does he seem well?
From his jumping and hovering and wild gesticulation, small running around in circles as he explains what he does, you'd feel safe in saying he is in his element.
Well, gentlemen, are you okay?
Yes, Yohm, we are fine. Are you okay? You perhaps shouldn't stand up so quickly.
No, I'll be fine. It's slightly different than last time, but it's, we'll be alright. I see we've been somewhat successful in calling for aid.
You would know better than us.
Well, so far I've only really been able to understand Tonto directly and shared some very basic forms of communication with other Mamu, but I can tell you from what I can see here, he feels very safe with those. I think he's telling them of our plight, and asking them for aid.
They are communicating. I see. Roll an insight on Hugus just there.
As I do this as well, can I take a specific look at the eyes of these Mamu just to 100% confirm they are the eyes that I possess as well and not those of the black matter?
Sure. Roll me an investigation check with disadvantage due to your impaired perception currently.
I'll go for the insights first. And that'll be just a 3 for that one. And then the investigation will be just a 4.
On the insight, you can tell that Hugus has been made to think upon hearing that the Mamu are communicating. It's cause for a pause in thought for him. On the 4 investigation, your long-distance sight appears to be not at its optimum at the moment. You couldn't quite tell, though intuitively, from their composure, from their countenance, they don't seem to be hostile. And you might make an assumption as to what their eyes look like. As you say these words to Hugus, Goru stands to the side with his arms crossed, and he almost mumbles as an aside, though clearly wishes to be heard. You said pink Mamu. Is it going to work with blue Mamu? Does it make a difference? Do they have to come near me?
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't entirely know the answers to all of your questions. I know what happened before, and they were pink Mamu. And I know, just through the work of the Healers Guild, that they typically are the ones with medicinal abilities of sorts, but I think Tonto was asking for help. And these were the first to hear it. I'm not sure they directly will do what I was hoping, but there will be moments before we need to find out.
I'm going to be honest, Yohm. You are beginning to sound like a Shinrik. You seriously expect us to believe that these Mamu are talking to each other and organizing and communicating a plan?
Well, I'm afraid I don't know the Shinriks that well for the comparison, but I believe it's fair to say where they have spoken and theorized about this, I have hopefully shown you plain as day that there is something to this Mamu in particular. I know it does ask a lot of you to believe me still, but trust at least that I am trying my damnedest to show you what we're doing is real. And it is scary for me too, and it is new. I am not a master of this by any stretch, but someone learning and trying to help those he can.
Okay.
And we won't do anything at all unless I am sure it will help you. Okay?
Okay.
Whatever happens here, Tonto and I are... well, we're first in line.
I've put my trust in you. I will continue to do so until you prove me wrong.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
And rest assured, I've not forgotten about that cave and the rest of this town either. It starts with one small Mamu in your leg, but this can be something bigger.
Something bigger. And as he says those words, whoosh, a flapping of wings and a huge bellowing gust comes your way as those folded wings of the Mamu thrust themselves up into the air, and they shoot into the sky, up and away, leaving comparatively small Tonto left by himself as he gazes upwards at their disappearance. And after a small moment of awe, he remembers himself and spins on his feet and comes gliding, literally, over to you.
Yohm, they're going to help us.
I hold my arm up, just excitedly, as my small friend returns. That's excellent, Tonto. That's excellent. What did you say to them? What happened?
And he bounds onto your arm from the floor to get a little closer as he continues to explain.
Well, they didn't see any pink Mamu anywhere nearby, but a few of them said that they could go and find some and then bring them back here. But then, when I explained everything that happened about the cave and this man's leg and how we needed help, they knew all about it, and they said that we could go and speak to the Mother Spirit, and they would definitely help.
The Mother of the Blue, Mamu.
That's right. If we went into the cave, then they could help us, but they said that maybe we could help them too.
I think our friend was right. Maybe we are starting to sound like the Shimricks after all. And I share all of this with the other two.
So, you wish to go in the cave?
It seems like the only real path forward from this point.
Well, I cannot recommend it. It seems as though you are very likely to be attacked by the Mamu. If they will even let you in the cave, who knows what is in there and what it might do to you.
Someone has to find out. Not just for your leg. It's plain as day to see your town relies on that mine. And these Mamu rely on it too.
It is true. Every day we cannot get in the mine. We are behind our quotas. We have no other trade here. Brightstone is our commerce, and well, you're right, we rely on it. And they say that the Guardians Guild will be here to render reinforcements, but well, honestly, I don't hold out much luck.
Yeah. I know, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm pretty sure even if they do get here, they're just going to put a very big wall in front of that cave.
Well, Yohm, tell me, you think that is not a good idea? It's sounding like perhaps the only idea in my mind.
Well, it will solve your short-term problem, yes, but... And then what? without your brightstone. Sure, some of you will be able to hang around, but it won't be long before the marks dry up and winter hits once again.
You're right. We would suffer. I don't know what else we would do for trade, but I would rather we all stay safe, Yohm. As long as whatever you do in that cave ensures we are safe.
Yes, I promise you. It's just funny to me, I'm always convincing people these days. All I'm trying to do is actually help everyone. That includes these guys. As I gesture to Tonto too. We're all more connected than you think.
Yes, well, I think perhaps you should get to know the Shinriks a bit more. Sounds like you have a lot in common.
Maybe, but I'm just a fan of the old ways. Us of the desert, you know, a little bit more accepting of the Mamu in general.
I've heard. Yes, perhaps we don't leave much room for the Mamu here, as perhaps they did once before. We forget the roots of this town sometimes. Did you know it was once a stronghold for the Earthsea Battalion? We fought, well, the winning side fought to make sure that Ludock's cave was not harmed and that the Mamu remained safe.
I did not know this, no. Do you know why that was?
Well, I don't know how much you know about the old days, but it was a battle for the Mamu. The desert and the mountain tribes, they made an alliance to rid the continent of Mamu. They saw them as dangerous. We are not quite sure why. There are many stories. Perhaps times were similar to how they are now. It is unclear. But it was the forest and ocean tribes, the Earthsea Alliance, that wanted to defend the Mamu and protect them from their attacks. And it is this stronghold here at Teot that they fought for and built in order to protect this cave that they saw to be so important and vital to the Mamu.
Well, I think they were right. Now, if you are to believe a stranger and his ramblings, I believe there to be a guardian spirit of sorts of the Mamu in there. A mother. Geist, a name I've heard.
I can't say I have.
Well, with your history and my strange connections, it'd be hard to say they're all wrong. Something resides within that cave. Something with great meaning to these Mamu. And they believe if I go in there and aid it somehow, well then, all of our problems seem to be solved.
If you can do it, Yohm, we urge you to do so. If it is Ludock's cave where you must go, then we will aid you in any way that you need.
Thank you. Well, we'll talk supplies shortly, but I'd worry not. Long before I met this one, I was diving feet first into caves, spelunking and getting myself into all sorts of trouble. Don't worry. I'm good at this. I'll find our answers and I will drag help back out of that cave if need be.
I believe you, Yohm. Yes, I think, since meeting you last night, I have, started to believe all sorts of things.
It's funny. It sort of forces your hand with that, doesn't it?
Come. I'm sure you will need many supplies before you enter into this adventure of yours.
Yeah, the rest of mine are strewn across that mountain somewhere, I imagine.
Did you say that those Mamu were bringing back pink Mamu? Is that right?
They said they'll try, but I can't say at all if they'll be successful or how long that may take.
I see. If that is going to happen, I will need to make some preparations to ensure that people are not scared. Yes, I will employ a watchman. Anyway, that is for me to configure. Come, Yohm. Let us head back inside. We've much to prepare.
He, before just stepping off, just really wishfully looks around once more and tries his absolute best to catch any glimpse of that sensation he felt moments ago, and reluctantly accepting that the moment has passed. He scurries Tonto back into his little hiding spot once more.
As you burrow him into your fleece once again, he happily tucks himself inside. Tonto looks to you.
What did you talk about? What is the plan? Are we going to speak to the Mother Spirit?
We're going to certainly try, my friend.
Oh, good.
Very soon, in fact.
They did make it sound like she needed a lot of help.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Well, that's what we do, isn't it? Help people.
Yeah. I think we're getting good at it.
Yeah. Me too.
Well done. My friend, well done.
You too, Yohm. You know, when you held my hand and you fell asleep, I don't think I could have got the attention of the Mamu without you. It really helped.
Well, I felt it, Tonto. I felt it too. I felt all of you.
Yeah.
All of you.
That's what it's like to be a Mamu. You don't feel your people?
No. Lately I'm struggling starting to feel my toes. So, getting a glimpse of your life, it's inspiring, really, and I am slowly starting to understand. Slowly.
Me too. About you and your people. I didn't know you couldn't feel each other. I think if you could, it would be a lot easier to help each other.
Yeah. You might start to see why we now need to. And he rummages into one of his pockets to pull out a very old harvester's mark at this point. Why we need things like these. To help us keep promises.
True. It's making a lot of sense.
But well, if you were... I'm sorry to ask, but if you don't mind hiding away just for an hour more or so tops.
Of course, I don't mind. I'm getting used to being in here.
That's okay, Ian. Is there anything you think I might need before heading in there?
Yes, there is.
What is it?
The Blue Mamu, they told me you're going to need courage.
Well, between the two of us, I think we'll be alright.
And he gives you a warm smile and nod as he digs himself down into your coat. And as you walk back to that gate, you can see over top the tall walls of the village, that looming, pointed cave entrance that seems to arch over top the entire village with that swarming murmuration of Blue Mamu outside of it, calling you over. Looking in this moment more mysterious and curious than it ever has done.